take care of some business here. All right. I realize that when we say attitude, have a attitude. Think of yourself as you're cultivating this child or this student. So there's the attitude of, well, sink or swim, throw them in and see what happens. And I grew up in that era, and I actually had that happen to me. Sink or swim, I got thrown in a lake. But they had worked with me a little bit on how to swim, and I knew just from experience, I was 4 or 5 years old, every one of those adults, I knew they were right there, that if there was a problem, they were going to be there to make sure I don't die. So it's a different thing, and then the other, it's a different sink or swim, than to know nobody cares about you and you're going to get thrown in the pool and drown. Because if that's the way you think, then you have to realize that some kids will drown. And is that an acceptable form of education? Now the other is thinking of yourself like a farmer. Well, I'm just going to toss the seeds out, and the strongest seed will survive. It will find water in the rain, and it will learn to just succeed and survive on what rainfall, and it'll be stronger. Well, it can be, but actually that doesn't work, because most of the seeds die. And the other thing is, the ones that do live, they might be scrappy, but they're awful. If it's you're planting tomatoes, the plant might grow and not give tomatoes because there's not enough water, or it gets scorched by the sun and dies, or if it's an apple tree, it'll have these little bitty apples that are useless to you. So that's why you have to think more of cultivation. So your attitude is, play me something, and don't nitpick and say, well, this is that and that should be that. Let the teacher teach. Even if you know music, that's the worst thing you can do. Let them know you like that, you like them doing it. Because if they're going to be an architect, and they make a mistake in, 5th grade math, are you going to just laugh at them and jump, oh, don't quit your day job? That's just nonsense. So have a attitude of cultivation, of positiveness, of liking what they're doing. The teacher will teach them, because music is not easy. My favorite subjects in school, high school, was physics. I was a chemistry major in college at first. I never studied for tests. I never had to. Always was in the very top of standardized tests. They were no big deal for me. I was a reader for people who had vision problems, and I helped a guy read the pre-law exam, and I took it with him and passed it. So and music's tough. Music is a lot tougher than some of the other stuff, and I struggled a lot learning it. So don't think you're going to be playing in 2 weeks, And I know we laugh at, Cousin George, who beats drums and never gets any work. Well, that's just because he doesn't apply himself. Doesn't mean he can't do it. Be positive and nurturing. Otherwise, you're better off not getting the lessons, because you're wasting your time and you're just driving a wedge between you and that student, because they'll know you don't really appreciate what they do or think it's worth anything. So that's the attitude. Is very important. There's very few accessories you need. Have a nice place in the house that's quiet but not too removed. You don't want to ostracize them to the, unless you build them their own music room somewhere. That's good. But otherwise, keep them close by. Have everything out. Encourage them little times to go. You don't have to order them. Go play for 5 minutes, but oh, I'd love to hear you play something, or just tell me what you learned, or something like that. Be present. I have a friend who's an accomplished pianist and a teacher, just retired recently, and her dad worked long hours and was away from home a lot. And anytime he came home and she was there when she was a kid, he'd go lay down on the couch and say, I want you to play me something. And the little kid would play for 20 minutes, half hour, hour sometimes. The dad didn't nod off. He would listen and lay there. And that's one of the things she remembered the most about her life, which is pretty cool. Have that attitude. That's a good one to have. So there's your how to choose a keyboard. And if you would like to ask a specific question, I'd be happy to tell you about it. Just, send it in. If you didn't understand something or I didn't explain it well enough, let me know. I'll mansplain it to you. It's tough when you're speaking, you know all this stuff, but it's a lot different when you're actually having to do it and record it. You say the weirdest things sometimes, and things are just not right. And later you go, I didn't say that. And then you go back and you look and say, oh no, I did say that. That's not what I meant. So we do have time to correct mistakes because everyone makes mistakes. So if you're not correcting mistakes, you're just not being very honest. So anyway, let's talk about something else now that we're over that. I said I would talk about the why you are doing what you are doing. And that goes along with, you have to ask yourself, why do I want music lessons? Why do I want to learn to play guitar? Why do I want anything? Why do I want this career? I get a lot of students who are fantastic musicians who could have very successful and lucrative careers. There's a lot of careers in music. A lot of powerful attorneys are musicians, and they were so attached to music that they are in the music law field or music therapy or teaching music or playing. You can make good money playing music. There's people that go out and earn money, and there's those that, wait around and dream of a record contract. That's not how it works. Don't dream, do. You dream when you can't do something, you dream about it. And then once you can do it, do it. So once you learn to play music, or you play for friends and family, go start making money. But before you do any of that, I think you need to ask yourself some questions. So let's talk about some things. You're looking at a job or something to do, and here's what it's going to give you. It's going to give you shelter, food, and protection. Those are the big three. And then maybe time to do the things you like. You can play guitar, you can write, you can learn art, learn coding, whatever. Nice, safe place. No interruptions, no worries, no anxiety over what's going to happen. You know exactly what's going to happen. Well, my friends, this is called prison or cage. Why does the caged bird sing? Because they're in a cage. They got nothing better to do. Now, are these bad things? Well, no, they're good things. But think about it. When you're in prison, you get all that. Is that what you want? That's why you need your why. And when we are doing stuff, if I was going to explain something to you, I can tell you what I'm doing. So, I can take you through this studio and explain to you what I do. I do this, I teach that. And you'll have a certain level of understanding. Then if I go back and tell you how I do that, by what methods I use and what the logistics are and how to talk to people and how to draw them out and find out what they want, how to give them what they want when they say they want something else. You don't know how many parents and students are telling us how to teach them music. And, I don't want to do that, or I can't do that, or whatever. Well, we know you can't do it because you wouldn't be here if you could do it. And if you don't want to do it, then you need to, honestly, you need to get your mind right, we used to say, and do it. There is no, I don't want to do that. That's part of what we do, is to teach you to do things that you don't think you want to do until you want to do them. Then you love it. That's what a lot of this teaching is. And then you would understand what goes on. But then if I were to explain to you the why am I doing this? At that point, you would have a full understanding of who I am, of what it means to do this, and if you want to do it. So we can do this by filling out these sentences. And you're going to write, if I get blank, I will be blank. So there's two blanks. If you get something, that thing is a blank, and then what will you be if you get that thing? And you write that out. So if I get money, I will be happy. If I get love, I will be loved. If I get a boat, I will be excited. Those things. If I get a bicycle, I will be active. Put all those out and dream about what you want to do. All right. So here's what you have to think about. We get it backwards. If I get money, I will be happy. No. If I'm happy, I will produce money. If I feel loved, I will be able to love others and find someone to love. If I get excited and active, I will be able to see that boat and get it, or that bike. You understand? It's like saying, if I eat food, I will be hungry. Well, it doesn't work like that. If I'm hungry, I will eat food. If I can see in this room at night, I will turn on the light. Well, no, you turn on the light, then you can see. Now, that's not a direct analogy, and a direct analogy, I know, isn't a logical conclusion, but it does help you understand that you need to get that excitement. So one of the things you can do is go backwards. Say, in my life now, when I'm excited, I am doing blank. When I'm happy, I am blank, or I have blank. When I'm active, I am blank, or I have blank. And make that list. And gather those things, or what makes me happy, this blank that I can get or I have. And go do that. So if you are happy when you're baking cakes, guess what? Bake a cake every week. If you're trying to lose weight, bake a cake for somebody else every week. Bake two. Imagine you come to work and a person, a lady or a guy that works there, brings in this beautiful birthday cake for someone in the office. And they set it down, and everybody eats that cake. And that's great. Where'd that cake come from? And you say, oh, I made that. I love to bake, and I'm going to start baking cakes for people. Give me a call, or here's my quote. I'll give it to you. Imagine you've eaten 3 or 4 of those cakes, and then you say one day, who makes those cakes? They're so good. Are they from Publix? Because that's why I love the Publix cakes. So no, Joe does that. He does Star Wars cakes and all that. And pretty soon you'll probably have people wanting to do that. I worked in a bank and things, and I asked if I could make a newsletter. I asked if I could, sing some songs in the break room at break, those kind of things. Now, sometimes they said no, but sometimes they said yes. And, I'd be playing, people come in, what's going on? And I just put up a sign, for your enjoyment. And people would say, wow, do you ever play? Do you do weddings? Do you do this? I'm having some people over. Would you come and just play for an hour? So there you go. I'm getting that feeling. I love playing, so I played and I got whatever. My first church job, I joined the choir. I got very involved. When the choir director left, they promoted me and said, would you like to be choir director? My first paid choir director job. Get those things first. If you love hiking, go hiking. If you love playing basketball, go play basketball. If you love coding, code. Join a coding club. Go listen to a high school or university coding professor lecture. If you're in middle school, see if you can go sit in on a high school lecture. Go ask. I don't know. Ask your teacher. So you're immersing yourself in something that's making you happy, and or making you feel content, or whatever that is. Hang around people that make you feel good. Don't hang around the ones that don't moan and groan. That's the worst. That's just madness. Even if it's your relatives, if your relatives are a pain in the butt, then don't. They're your relatives. Get out of them what you should. I've had people say, I had an awful relationship with my father or my mother. Well, that's fine. Don't put them off the hook, though. Make sure they do the things they're supposed to do, But then don't hang around them if they're pains in the butt. Get what you want. You're not required to give them anything, and then leave. Later when they're old and decrepit and can't moan and groan about stuff, then you can take them in or whatever, or you can see that they're taken care of. I was watching a TV show, and the one person had been injured and was in the hospital, and the other person, now make sure you do this and make sure you do that, make sure you do that. And we were sitting there, and someone said, "Oh man, that's a lot. That person's just standing there listening to all that stuff." I said, "Yeah." I said, "He needs to go answer that call." And they're like, "What?" I said, "Well, if it was me, I'd have that call down the hallway." And they're like, "What are you talking about? Where would you go?" I said, "Well, down the hallway far enough where I don't hear all that. You got to go do this and got to go do that stuff. Sorry you're feeling bad. I'll be back later," and leave. It's like I heard someone once say, my in-laws might be calling me names, but they're going to be doing it long distance. So there you go. But hang around people who make you feel good and are active in doing things. Don't hang around a bunch of bums. Nothing wrong with having bums for friends. I've been a bum to other people. Nothing wrong with that. But don't make that be it. Or my best friend, and some person that has no capability of helping themselves. So what do? You either, if they're willing to accept help, you help them. If they don't, you help them by saying to them, "You're a great friend, but you're being self-destructive, and I'm not going to be a part of that, so I'm going to leave." And when you are able to get yourself on track and get help, or ask me for help, or do something different, then we can be friends. And that's it. You walk. There's not really much else you can do, because if a person is hurting, they will not change until the pain they're in is worse than the pain of change. If you ever see this, what's it called? Intervention. It's about people who are addicted, and they never get help pretty much until everybody gets around and say, "You're doing all these terrible things to yourself. Here's how it makes me feel," which is usually bad, and we are not going to continue to support that. And a lot of them are like, "We're going to call social service. We're going to call your probation officer. We're not going to let you live with us. We're not going to give you money. Give me your cell phone." So you're not being mean to them, but you're letting them know that unless they change their ways, and it's not just one person. If it's just one person, that can be something weird. But if it's a group of people that you've known all your life, you got to face facts. If you've had 50 first dates, it's not the other people. It's not those 50 people. Something's going on. So either you're choosing the wrong people, or in the wrong pond. Go to another place. So I know we got off a little bit, but that's how you hang around people that are positive. Hang around people that are doing what you're doing. That's how you can kind of find your why. And to finish this up, think about this. If you can't manage your finances now on, say, $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, you won't manage $10,000 or $15,000 a month. I mean, it won't happen. If you can't play well enough to be a leader in AAA ball, you're not going to be doing any well in the majors. Getting stuff, money, power, recognition, it doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are. So think about that. And everybody always asks, "What's your major? What are you doing?" you're not going to do one thing in life. Even if you do one thing in life, that's going to change a little bit. I mean, come on. So, don't look at what you do as one thing that you never get out of, because that's a coffin. That's your final resting place. You're never going to get out of that thing, or it won't matter. It'll all go to dust. Live in the present. This is now. Prepare for the future. Learn from the past, but live in the present. Say, what can I do right now? And go do it. Can I call someone? Can I research something? And when you research to do. So plan. And we're going to get into that in a whole nother thing about planning. That's a lot of dreaming and doing as well. But we're going to get into planning and organizing and that kind of thing. In another blog. So there you go. That's how you choose a keyboard. That's how you get into where your why is. We've talked about how to find your why, but you have to ask yourself, what is your why for doing this? So this has been a long one. It's 2 videos and 1 long blog, podcast. But I hope you've enjoyed it. It goes over some really interesting things. Places to find keyboards would be Musician's Friend, Sam Ash, places online. And then go to those 2 places have stores. Musician's Friend is the same as Guitar Center. Sam Ash is Sam Ash, and so forth. So you have little local music shops too. I would say go to your local music shop, and if people are nice and it's a nice place, buy some little things and talk to them, and eventually they might make you a deal, or even if you pay a little more for a keyboard, you're going to get someone to take care of you and teach you and give you extra things later. Now, some of these stores, looks like everybody, there's some of these stores, these people are pains in the butt, and I wouldn't set foot in it again. Go to another store. Drive 20 or 30 minutes or whatever. But get to know them and buy from them. And a lot of times if you say, I want this, which is $500, but I only have $300, they'll maybe make a deal or put you into something else. And if you have a relationship with them already and know them, you're going to trust them. And don't get into I've had so many people quit because they'll purchase something online they don't know anything about. It comes in, it's either the wrong thing or damaged, and they have to pay shipping. And about the second time they get so frustrated, they quit taking lessons or they stop. And their whole life was controlled by one little decision, and then they let their lack of confidence and anxiety just get the best of them. So don't do that. Ask people about what you should do and take their advice. What's the worst that could happen? I mean, if you trust somebody, it's not jumping off the cliff without a parachute. It's just buying something or doing something. Do it and then see how it is. And if you don't like it, that's the more important reason to do it, because maybe your problems is you only do things you like, and you got to do things you don't like because you might end up liking it. Nobody likes broccoli and lima beans and stuff like that, but you eat them and then you start liking them. So anyway, that's my soapbox, my high horse, my crate, my barrel, all that stuff. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you didn't, it's free, so you're not losing anything. Flame me. Give me some flamey comments. I don't care. I'd love to hear from you. Go out and get you some of that life. Learn an instrument. Learn something. Hang around people that love you and you love them, or people that make you feel good and are doing good things. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.